Melissa landed in Amsterdam, and shortly after, Sweeney then he arrived there.
And then they moved in together.
Melissa had sent a voice message on an answer phone to her mother.
Hi Mom, it's Melissa. I just called to wish you a happy birthday. I'm going to be getting a fax machine sometime soon, so I'll call and be able to leave that number with you anyway. Have a good time and take care of yourself. Goodbye, I love you.
The spring of the following year, she's seen in a photograph with Sweeney, and then she's not seen after that.
She had a very adventurous life, and so her parents in the US, they had no clue where she was at what time. So, of course, then it takes a very long time to figure out there is something wrong.
Fears began to grow amongst the Halstead family that something terrible had happened to Melissa. Firstly, Melissa was missing, and secondly, that if she had come to harm, they were convinced that Sweeney would be responsible.
But with no body and no clues, Dutch police had nothing to go on. The case ground to a halt. Four years later, another woman found herself under Sweeney's coercive and controlling behaviour and was desperately wanting a way out. Delia took Sweeney to Texas, hoping that introducing him to her family might ease tensions.
I thought it might change him. My mum and dad didn't like him. I could see when we got there that he just did not fit in.
I met him in '94. He came here, and, you know, he was a well-built, tall guy, and I just thought he was okay then. I just figured my sister knew better, and I just went along.
We were in Stuart's apartment. We had a bottle of wine. Us two were sitting on the floor.
I asked him, "Have you ever killed anyone?" And I don't know why I asked it. I just had these vibes about him. He wouldn't say yes or no. He said the white men taught the Indians how to scalp. Really strange.
Back home, his behaviour became even worse.
Where have you been? Why are you wearing that short skirt? Did guys look at you? And all the rest?
Delia knew she had to end the relationship.
I want you to move out.
This again?
You use me, you're rude to me, and you don't respect me.
Respect? That dyke been putting ideas into your head.
This has nothing to do with her. I don't want to go out with you anymore.
I said, I'm going to bed now. I have to work tomorrow. Then the door burst open, and he came in. He grabbed my ankle, and I said, "What are you doing?"
This is the bed where Delia was attacked.
Out comes these ropes, and then he tied it to the bed, and then he tied the other ankle. Then he grabbed my arms, he held me down, he tied that one first to the top and then the other to the top. And at first I struggled, and I found out it's best not to struggle because he'd fixed it so that the rope would get tighter and tighter.
Sweeney pulled out a knife and a gun he'd been hiding by the bed. Then he began to interrogate her about ex-boyfriends.
He's waving the gun and the knife around and threatened to cut my tongue out if I screamed.
With Delia tied down, she says that Sweeney made a chilling confession about his former girlfriend, Melissa Halstead.
He said she was in our flat in Amsterdam with two German guys. They were in bed with her. He said, I shot them all. They were there for 3 days, didn't know what to do with the bodies, so I cut them up and I threw them in the canal.
Waar duikers zochten naar de ledematen van een stoffelijk overschot dat eerder die dag in een plunjezak uit het water werd gedreigd.
In May 1990, a dismembered female body who had been found in the Westersingle Canal in a large duffel bag. It was quite clear that there was what appeared to be blood leaking from the bag, and when they opened it, to their horror, they found the dismembered remains of a white female. Her head and her hands had been removed, and her torso was effectively trussed up, really, with lengths of rope. Quite a horrific discovery.
Rotterdam police quickly launched a murder investigation to identify the unknown woman.
There were no features or identifying marks with which they could identify her. So after a short period of time, unfortunately, that case was effectively closed.
Back in London, John Sweeney, armed with a gun and knife, was holding Delia Balmer hostage.
That is the flat right there where I was in. I was tied up to the bed all night long. I thought there was no way of escape. There wasn't. You just do what he wants. Drink the can of beer he holds to your mouth. Just do it.
I've been sick as a dog. I've had food poisoning.
Food poisoning? John said your nan was sick. Family emergency.
No, he's just being silly.
He assaulted her multiple times. Then, after a week, he let her go.
When I went back to work, I had the mark on my left wrist from the tight rope. I told them he had me tied to the bed. They said, go to the police. I said, no, I can't do that. They won't do anything. He's going to want revenge, and he'll take it out on me. I knew it.
For months, Delia was terrified he'd attack her again. She asked a council advice centre for help, and they called the police. When officers came to her flat, she tried to convince them that Sweeney was a killer.
Get off me! Why won't you look at the pictures? They prove he killed Melissa.
They're just drawings, Delia. They don't prove anything.
How can you say that? The truth is staring you in the goddamn face!
Delia, listen to me. Our main priority right now is keeping you safe.
No, I'm not going. I know my rights. You can't force me out of my home.
Delia.
No, get out.
Her warnings were ignored. His violent and controlling behaviour was escalating. Then, in November, just before she was due to visit a friend, she came home to find Sweeney waiting for her.
I opened the door slowly. And of course, there he was. Then he pushed it open. He stuck his fingers down my throat and used that to shove me onto the bed, which was just there. And I was lying there with my legs dangling over the edge of the bed. He said, stop screaming. He says, I'm just going to talk to you. I won't be here for long. My friend kept phoning because I had not turned up at the pub.
Her friend knew Sweeney was dangerous, so when Delia didn't answer, she immediately dialed 999.
The police came and they knocked on the front door. He said, just answer the door and tell them everything is okay. I stood up and I walked to the door. I could feel his presence behind me. I opened the door. I said, "Help me!" I ran down the stairs. I asked that policewoman after, I said, what did I look like? She said, "You looked like you were running for your life."